You guys got two brutal matches. You've had some heavy games, but you got two brutal matches in the next 2 weeks, and then you got a bit of a break, and then the Lions. How important is it going to be given the nature of the two matches next 2 weeks?
Oh yeah, these games are important. I'm not so worried. Please don't misconstrue this as an unbeaten record. But what we want to do is, given our start, is capitalize on it and make sure we're hosting, proper playoff. That's got to be, where we are now. We've got to dream of that, and that makes every one of these games, especially at home's non-negotiable. And also, it's not a big thing, but it's not the biggest thing, but the South African Shield is on the line, and it's going to require us to win these two and win at Ellis Park. At least because the Lions, give them credit, they've won in Durban, and they've won the game was in Pretoria. So we're going to have to win up there. So and then obviously with the next game is the Bulls. So it's four really big local derbies. And just say the Shield, we want to go for it. We want to be like just to tick that to say yes, they are the best team in South Africa. But you're not going to get that if you don't do well over these 2 weeks, unfortunately. So that's great. They're great. Listen, I think there's an element that when Super Rugby went to look, I agree that you had to be Pythagoras to work out some of the conference. It was all unused to, and we all like the old Super thing, but and they wanted to have more local derbies. That didn't have the effect. But I think the converse is actually happening in the URC, where these local derby. I mean, there's a huge crowd in here tomorrow. It's the Bulls game, even the Lions game we had here was a nice. So they're big. I think it's quite tough on the players. If we had to play the Bulls the next week on the 10th of January, I think my players could have been on the phone with some concerns about player welfare. It's going to be tough 2 weeks. The Sharks are a better side than they were a little while ago, so we have to be up for it. But our goal is so not about the unbeaten record, but it's that we really capitalize on the start. A, to get the Shield, and secondly, to make sure our dream would be to host a very, very, very big game back here in Cape Town, whether that's a semi-final or final. So, and we can put ourselves in a position to do that if we can do well over these next three games.
And the attritional level in these games, is that a concern, and how do you manage that?
No, it is a concern. I don't know, because rugby's just the guys are getting better condition, and when I played, you fat guys you could avoid, and the small guys you could stuff up, but you couldn't catch them. And now the big guys can move very, very fast. So if you look at what was, Ruan Ackerman, Adre Smith, just from that Bulls game, those are two big tough guys out. We've had six HIAs in 2 games. So that is a concern, and especially a local derby, which has got a slightly different edge. And there's no ways anybody goes into. You can make 2 or 3 rotations if you've got really amount of depth, but you're going to try and build consistency and cohesion in your team, and you're not going to rotate as much as you would have done. Let's say, for example, I don't want to disrespect a medium Welsh team was coming, we could probably have made 8 or 9 changes. But if you do that for the Sharks in Durban, you disrespect the local derby. People want the most important, the best guys out there. So you are asking these guys to front up. And what's curious about that is, other than your review work of what went wrong in that game, it's not like you're preparing for a new team with a completely new theme. So the difference is probably in the review work, but also just in getting more physicality, more intensity. So that makes it back-to-back local derby really, really intense. I think the injury. I would suspect you could think the attrition rate's probably similar across most franchises now, but there's no doubt that the Bulls game took something out of us and took something out of them. And I hope it's not the same in these next 2 weeks, but I suspect they're going to be tough games.
Thanks very much, John. I much appreciate it.
Thanks, Jan.